The 2026 Volvo V60 Cross Country. If you need a practical car but don't want an SUV, this thing is for you, but not for too long. In this video, we're going to talk about what the V60 Cross Country is from a technical standpoint, the interior space, and obviously what it's like to drive it. Now, for decades, Volvo has been associated with station wagons, but unfortunately, they're going away as most customers are picking SUVs as their family practical vehicles. So the V60 Cross Country and the V90 Cross Country are last two new Volvo station wagons that you can buy, but not for too long. The production of the V90 ended last year, and for the V60, it will end in April of 2026. Now, you may ask, what exactly is the V60 Cross Country and how does it differ from a regular V60? Well, just like in case of all cross-country models, we have more ground clearance, 7.8 inches to be exact, more rugged styling with some plastic cladding, and a standard all-wheel drive system. Everything else is basically the same. The V60 Cross Country sits on the SPA platform, uses a double wishbone suspension up front with coil springs, multi-link setup in the back with a leaf spring, an unconventional solution, but one of the reasons why Volvo decided to take that approach is packaging. Using a leaf spring allowed them to save some cargo space and lower the load floor, which would normally be taken up by a conventional springs. As of engines, we only have one option in the US, a 247 horsepower mild hybrid called B5. It uses a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission and an on-demand Haldex-based all-wheel drive system. Pricing starts at a little over $50,000, but if you fully spec it, you can get it up to $68,000. Now, before we talk what it's like to drive this thing, let's take a look inside and talk about the interior space. Okay, so we're inside the Volvo V60 Cross Country. Now, just like in case of the V90 Cross Country that we tested last week, the design remained the same throughout the years, and there is nothing wrong with that. We have great fit and finish, high quality materials, and very eye-pleasing design which has aged very well and still looks fresh. Now, the only thing that changed over the years is technology. Volvo updated their infotainment system a couple of times, going from their in-house design to a Google-based technology, and 2026 model year Volvos received an updated user interface. And it was a good call. It's logical, quick, and for the last week it has been pretty stable. As an Android-based system, we have Google Maps as native navigation. You can also download other apps like YouTube or Waze, so you don't really need to use phone projection, but if you decide to do so, you have to plug in your device using the cable since there's no wireless projection, at least not as of now. Rumor has it there is going to be an over-the-air update. Now, since we're on the topic of technology, we cannot forget about the amazing Bowers & Wilkins sound system. It was a highlight a decade ago when it first came out, and it still is to this day. It delivers an unbelievable sound quality, has multiple DSP modes, and if you appreciate good sound system, check it as an option because it's well worth it. Now, the overall usability is okay. The center console and space under the armrest are fine. The door pockets are of a decent size for a compact vehicle, and the V60 obviously wins when it comes to the cargo area. I mean, that's why you get a wagon, right? It may not have as much space as an SUV in terms of height, but it's very deep, and after dropping the seats, you'll realize how spacious it is for a compact car. The backseat area offers a decent amount of space. We have separate temperature control, climate vents in the middle, climate vents in B-pillars, and a couple of USB-C charging ports. Moving up front, the front seats and the driving positions are amazing. One thing that you'll appreciate in the cross country that it's easier to get in and out compared to your regular sedan or a wagon, but once you get inside, you'll appreciate more car-like driving position. And of course, the seats themselves are super comfortable, provide good amount of adjustments, and you can drive this thing for hours without any fatigue. Overall, after so many years, this is still in my eyes one of the best cabins in the segment of compact vehicles. High interior quality, okay usability, and feeling that you're driving something special and not generic. Now, the question is, how does the V60 drive? Is it your typical generic station wagon? Well, let's head into our favorite back road now and find out. Okay, we're behind the wheel of the V60 Cross Country. Sad times, guys. Volvo is saying goodbye to station wagons in the US, at least for now. I don't think they said their last word yet, but if you really want to get one, well, rush it, and I have a feeling you will appreciate what it offers. First of all, we have a B5 all-wheel drive powertrain on board, which means it uses a 2-liter 4-cylinder, which makes 247 horsepower. That's 0 to 60 in about 6.5 seconds, so all you need. What really matters is that as a mild hybrid, it's pretty fuel efficient. We can average around 25 miles per gallon in the city, mid-30s on the highway, so that's not bad for a lifted station wagon. Another strong aspect of this powertrain is its overall refinement. Volvo put a lot of effort into refining their 2-liter 4-cylinders since the day they came out. I have a T5 in my XC60, and that engine could use better tuning and more NVH refinement, not issue with the B5. We have an integrated starter generator, so when you stop at a red light, the engine will shut off, but when it kicks back on, it does it seamlessly. You can't even tell that it kicked in. Same when it's at idle, when the engine is warm and the auto start stop system cannot work just yet. You're gonna be sitting and it's almost EV-like experience. You cannot tell that the engine is running. So Volvo did an amazing job with isolating this motor, and what's good about it as well is that it has a pretty nice warm tone. It doesn't sound like a rattly 4-cylinder. It has a pretty nice voice. Obviously, it doesn't compare to legendary inline 5s that Volvo used to offer, but for what it is, it's okay. We have an 8-speed automatic transmission on board provided by ASIN, the same unit that Volvo has put in their cars for over a decade. Works very smoothly, it's relatively quick to upshift and downshift. I have no complaints about the way it works. Sometimes when you come to a stop, when transmission has to downshift from second gear to first, there is a little bit of a lurch. I have the same problem in my XC60, had the same problem in my old S60 with the same transmission and same powertrain, so it's a matter of programming. I think it might be solved via software. But on the other hand, that issue has existed for almost 10 years. It's not something that happens all the time and is noticeable, but if you're a more experienced driver, you'll notice that. Now, another thing that you'll notice as a more experienced driver is how the V60 handles. We have a leaf spring in the back and you can't really tell that it's there, but I like how Volvo set up a suspension in it. It's on a firmer side, so it has that typical European feel to it, but it handles through corners pretty nice. Definitely better than any other SUV from Volvo's lineup. There's noticeable body roll, but we have a lot more confidence going through corners. Not as much body roll, and you can feel that lower center of gravity. So when it comes to suspension tuning, it's pretty nice. And inside corners, you can even get this thing to rotate a little bit. You can feel that the rear axle is working and it's nicely turning in together with the front end, so pretty good job. The steering is on a slower side, but it's pretty precise when it comes to mid-corner corrections. You cannot do anything crazy, and obviously it doesn't provide us any feedback because this car is all about being isolated, but I'm pretty happy with how the V60 feels dynamically. I definitely like it more than my XC60. Also, the brakes are pretty okay. Nice feel, some safe understeer, but wow, you can go pretty fast through those corners, and I really appreciated what it feels like dynamically for what it is. It's not a speed demon, it doesn't have crazy horsepower, it's just a regular commodity station wagon, and does a very, very good job. Now, as a daily, what you'll appreciate about the V60 is its compact dimensions and the space it offers, right? When it comes to ride quality, it's not as nice as its main rival, the A4 Allroad. There's noticeably more vibration coming inside, and that's a problem that every Volvo on a SPA platform faces. The structural rigidity is just not there. They didn't probably put enough NVH isolators, and the way the dampers are tuned is also far from perfect. When we hit sharp potholes that transmit high frequency vibrations to the cabin, you can feel it. You can feel that through your seat, and it's not super pleasant, but also we don't drive on broken pavements all the time, so it's not something that disqualifies this car, and we have 20 inch rims in our tester, so that makes it a little bit more noticeable and worse, but overall if it wasn't for that, this would have been an amazing, comfortable cruiser. Still is, just missing a little bit of refinement. Obviously, this will not change as the V60 is going away, but that's one thing I wish Volvo had changed. I think there are some aftermarket solutions. Looking at Sweet Speed Volvo forums, you can find users trying to remediate that issue, so maybe you can just mess around and find a good set of shocks that will eliminate the problem. But the cabin is very quiet, it's well isolated. It's not high level of comfort like in the V90 that we tested last week, but it's very nice. You can take it on long road trips, eat up miles in it, and you'll love it. You have amazing front seats, something that I always mention in Volvos. Outstanding Bowers & Wilkins sound system. There are times when I get to my destination, park the car, and I just want to stay in it to listen to music because that's how good it sounds. So yeah, if you're looking for a practical vehicle but don't necessarily want an SUV, now it's your chance to get a V60 Cross Country. At least take it for a test drive because you'll appreciate what it offers, how it drives. So with that, let's head into the final thoughts and summarize it. Okay, so let's sum up the Volvo V60 Cross Country. As a European man and fan of station wagons, I can't believe this is it. Within the next few months, we will not be able to purchase any Volvo station wagon, something that has defined this brand for decades. And it's a shame because it does so many things well that it makes me question a need for an SUV. Now, I know it may not offer as much space as any other compact SUVs, but it has better driving dynamics, is equally comfortable and practical, and it's just cooler. The sad part is that, at least in the US, wagons have been niche products for years, and SUVs are selling so well for Volvo that it simply makes no sense to pump more money into developing a new generation or making any updates. But if you want something different, check it out because I have a feeling you're really gonna like it. Anyways, if you guys have any questions about this thing, drop a comment and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.